It's funny how some voices just become part of a place, Like when you think about Atlanta, you think about Wanda Smith. It's like those local personalities, they become so woven into the city itself.
Yeah.
And the articles you brought in about Wanda, they really show how much she meant to people. What is it about those local figures that resonates so deeply, do you think?
I think you're right. It's almost like they become like part of the family, It's more than just entertainment. It's a connection, a shared history. And what's remarkable about Wanda is that she started in stand-up comedy, which is a tough world, and it requires a certain kind of grit to get up there night after night and really connect with an audience. You can't fake it in stand-up, not for long anyway.
It's so true. And then she steps onto V103, and for decades, she's a part of people's mornings with Frank and Wanda in the morning. That's a presence, a routine in people's lives. To have that kind of impact, to be that familiar voice day after day, year after year, it's remarkable. What do you think it was about morning radio that allowed her to have such a profound impact?
Well, think about it. Morning radio, it's such an intimate time. You're there with someone while they're waking up, having their coffee. And Wanda brought this humor and warmth to that routine. She became a companion, a friend you could count on. And what's amazing is that she didn't stop at entertainment. She was out there championing causes, giving back to Atlanta. It's like she was more than just a voice on the radio,
Absolutely. And speaking of her impact, let's move beyond the microphone and explore the broader reach she had, not just on the airwaves, but in the community and beyond. And you see that in the tributes that poured out after she passed. It's really incredible. It's like there's this one from ESPN's Elle Duncan. And she talks about how Wanda was exactly the person Atlanta radio fans knew her to be. Hilarious, vivacious, and entertaining. But then she goes on about how Wanda loved people back and how she was like this community mom.
Oh, wow. That's really beautiful. It makes you think about, the person behind the microphone. We see the public face, the laughter, the energy, but there's always more to the story, right?
Right.
And, with Wanda, there was that incident with her husband, Lamora Sellers, and Katt Williams. It got a lot of attention. And it kind of reminds you that everyone has their own struggles, their own complexities, even when they're bringing joy to others.
You're right. It's easy to forget that sometimes. And it's a good time to remember her family, who are going through this loss. Her husband, her sons, Giovanni and Tavares, and her granddaughter, Taylor, sending them all the love in the world.
Absolutely. It's those personal connections that mean everything. And speaking of that, did you see Tavares's Facebook post? He just wrote, "I love mom."
Oh, wow.
Just those 3 words, but so powerful, It brings it all back to the core of it, the human impact of losing someone you love.
It really is something. And, Wanda's reach, it went way beyond radio. I mean, she was in those Tyler Perry movies.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's Girls Stand Together, Inc.
Yeah.
It's like she had this energy that just, couldn't be contained.
It's true. She had this incredible drive, and she was always looking for ways to give back, to lift others up. And you see that in everything she did, whether it was on screen or through her work with Girls Stand Together.
Tell me more about that. What was the heart of Girls Stand Together?
So it was all about empowering young women in Atlanta, providing mentorship, resources, that kind of thing. Wanda, she was so passionate about giving young women the tools they needed to succeed, to find their voice. She talked a lot about her own journey, the challenges of being a woman in comedy, and she wanted to make sure other women had the support that maybe she didn't always have.
It sounds like she really poured her heart and soul into everything she did. So as we kind of step back and look at Wanda Smith's life, her legacy, what do you think will be remembered most? Was it that infectious laugh, her generosity, or maybe just that feeling of, I don't know, like a constant presence, like a friend on the radio?
I think it's a combination of all those things, She was just so genuine, so full of life. But what really strikes me is that Wanda showed us that you don't need a huge platform to make a difference. It's about the small acts of kindness, the laughter, the connections we make. That's how you build community. That's how you leave the world a little brighter than you found it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's something we can all take with us, right? No matter who we are or what we do.
Well, thank you so much for taking this deep dive with me into the life and legacy of Wanda Smith. It's clear that her impact reached far beyond the radio, and her spirit, well, that will continue to inspire for generations to come.